So you come to the United States, and how do you convince people that what you're doing is just, what they would be doing is just? Because you have to come to them and say, I want to ask you for money for a place that you have never been, for people you have never seen, who you may never see. You may never see the direct impact from the lives that will be that could be saved, will be saved based upon your generosity. How do you make that connection with people?
Well, obviously, it's I have to make people understand why this is unique, but also, I think much more importantly than that, I bring the humanity of the people that I work for to them and make them understand these are not statistics of people dying. They're statistics of people dying around the world. These are real people. They're my brothers and sisters, and they can be their brothers and sisters. I tell them the story of the beauty of the people. I tell them about the culture of the people. I don't just tell them about their plight dying of thirst. I really try to make them feel connected. For instance, we work with schools, and the students that we work with about 50 different schools, mostly Montessori, but other schools as well. And the students have gotten to know the kids that they help in the Azawak by name, by face. They know their face through photos and video. They've seen how in the one place that we've built what's called a borehole. We've created an oasis for life, and they saw how these children were living before the oasis for life was created, and now, and all they want to do is continue helping. They feel connected through the people in the organization that have been there, through me, particularly, and my husband. They know who they're helping. They know it's tangible. They can see the direct impact and the results pretty immediately, and they feel love for these people as I do.
What I'm struck by is something you just said. You said, I work for these people. I don't know if I've ever heard that before, and I've been all over the world. I've talked to a lot of people who work in, I don't want to say this business, but people are trying to help people. I usually don't hear it like that. It's usually described as something else. Do you find that you see this differently than others sometimes see this?
I can't say to that. I don't know how other people experience how they help people in need. I know I'm in the field. I know I founded this organization because of my love for the people and for the region. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know every step of what it takes to get to bring water to these people. I'm so intimately connected, and maybe people that work for larger organizations or whatnot don't have that intimate connection. I know that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me inspired. I know that I'm not working for Amman Imman, or the name of the organization that we created. I'm not working for anybody except for really what keeps me inspired is the children. I don't feel like I have one son. I feel like I have all these children in Niger, in the Azawak, that call me their hope, and that's such a huge responsibility, and I hate that, actually. I hate being called their hope because I know that they're sitting there waiting for me to come and bring them water, and I also know how hard it is to do that. It's so expensive to build one of these water sources. One of these water sources costs about from $175,000 to $200,000. Of course, when you build it, you help around 25,000 people and animals, so the impact is humongous. But being able to raise that amount of money and actually do the work is so hard. But then I know that my friends in Niger, they don't know that challenge. They just know the challenge that if they don't have water that day, they're literally going to die. I've seen children that wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that get on their donkey and travel 15 miles to a very, very, very deep open well. And they wait hours and hours to pull up just a tiny bit of mud. And often the well is dry. And sometimes when they walk the 15 miles back home, they don't just come home to their brothers and sisters that are, unhappy and miserable. They know that they may come home to find one of their brothers brothers and sisters dead from dehydration, and that's their reality. And so they're waiting for this water, and they know that my husband, my friends that have now become a part of the organization, and myself, we're all working very hard to do this, but they don't understand why it takes so long. That's not their reality. And so I know that. I know that the mother, I'm now a mother. I know that these mothers, they see their children, and they don't know if that child's going to live to the next day. You know, that's their reality. And so that's what I'm feeling, and that's kind of what I try to bring home is their reality as well.
Being a mother yourself now, has that changed it? I mean, there was a time when you might see a mother with her child and you sort of understand it intellectually. Right. But all of a sudden, when you become a parent, it becomes a visceral thing. It's totally, totally different. Has that changed sort of how you perceive what it is that you do?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think my compassion and my desire to help the people was the same before, but now my need to help them is perhaps even more urgent. On the other hand, having my son makes it more difficult for me to do the work. And, you know, my first priority now is my son. He's my first baby. But absolutely, I can't sit in a meeting with these mothers telling me how important it is for them to have water for their children and not break down bawling, because I couldn't imagine. I mean, I work there, but yet I still find a way to have. My son always has water. My son, okay, lives in an area where he could catch malaria, where he gets dysentery because the water that we have, it's difficult to keep it clean and all these things. But at the end of the day, I will always have food for my son. I will always have water for my son. And I can always seek medical help for my son. And to put myself in their position where they do not have the luxury of any of these things, of not only knowing if they're not going to have food for their child, but that without water, they can't grow food. Or did I say water? They're not going to have water, but they can't grow food, that they're not going to be able to treat their son or daughter for malaria if they catch malaria. I mean, all these things. Yes, that reality has definitely been much more significant to me.
All right, if people want to help, because this is going to be very broadly distributed, if people want to help, how do they contact you? How do they contact this organization to make a difference in the lives of so many people?
Well, we have a website that they can go to. The website is www.waterishope.org. That's www.waterishope.org. They can also contact me at Ariane, Ariane, at AmmanImman.org. AmmanImman.org. That's
Ariane Kirtley, Amman Imman, Water is Life. Ariane, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jack.